Hi guys, welcome back. Season 3, episode 2, Mask of Masculinity. Here in your studio, myself, Mace.
So French.
And myself, P, Andrew.
And if you tuned into to part 1 of season 3, we broke down the different masks. We talked about the Stoic mask. We talked about the importance of this. We talked about the Stoic mask, the athlete mask, the material mask, the sexual mask. We went in, we kind of divulged, we discussed the kind of relevance to everyday society. I hope you enjoyed it. And today we're going to finish off the rest of the book over the next coming parts of episode 2. So with no further ado, Pox, I'll let you lead on the next mask, which I think is the aggressive mask.
Cool. Sorry, for this episode, or certainly for these parts, obviously we made a decision to kind of lead on different masks. For this mask, the aggressive mask, I've made a decision to lead on this one. I think the reason why I'm happy obviously to lead on the aggressive mask is I feel once upon a time I probably had maybe aggressive and certainly anger issues in terms of maybe redirecting them. So this is one that was not necessarily one that was close to my heart, but one that I felt a bit gravitated towards. So without no further ado, I'll start. Imagine the moments before a cage fight, the cheering crowd, the threatening opponent in the corner, flexing, shadowboxing, bouncing rhythmically on the balls of his feet, ready for someone to ring the bell so he can pounce. The highlight reel of his past victories playing on the Jumbotron, man after man hitting the canvas or tapping desperately as the air gets choked out of them. Think about all the money on the line, the bragging rights, the years of training that lead up to this moment. Now think, how would you feel how would you feel if you were the fighter about to enter the cage to face your opponent? Afraid, anxious, angry, numb, worried? You'd be perfectly normal human beings to feel those things. Andy Kona, his release and his solace of stepping into the ring for a fight. Andy Kona, he finds his release and solace of stepping into a ring for a fight, where others would feel frightened of the thought of while others would be frightened of the thought of fighting under the lights and all that comes with it. Andy's different. He and they find solace and a release in wearing the aggressive mask. Andy Kona, who was fostered by his brother, to whom was like his mother, father, sister, and of course his brother. But following his brother committing suicide, he was broken. Something had opened up before because he doesn't like to show his weakness. But he found the UFC. He found his solace and release. Nothing else matters when he steps in the ring. All his problems go away. Only when he steps out of the ring does his problems return. My question obviously to both of yourselves, Mason and French, is there any sport or maybe any activity that you find solace maybe when you participate or step in the ring, dare I say?
So when you say solace in what type of
Peace,
way?
in that, like, obviously because of some of his problems in terms of his brother passing his family passing away, all his problems, whether it be family, financial, anything of that nature, they disappear obviously once he steps in the ring. He doesn't find any fear whatsoever when he steps in the ring.
For me, yeah. If I'm ever stressed, we all obviously have our day-to-day lives and jobs, and this is something that we love to do and passionate about on the side. But for me, I play footy every Wednesday, and obviously it's with all the World Cup and stuff going on right now, it's quite, relative. Yeah, to what's going on. But every Wednesday, literally, I'll be at work on a Monday morning. You normally have that kind of Monday morning, back to work after a heavy weekend, whatever. You have that feel like I don't want to be or whatever it is. And I'll be like, I got football Wednesday evening after work. And then I know that's the midpoint, and then obviously you come to the weekend. I love it. It just helps me to release and but like if I've got anything else going on, I know within that hour when I'm playing my 7 aside, there's nothing I can do to influence any external things I have going on in my life, and nothing that can impact on that. And I always make a point of making sure, even if I've got things going on, even if sometimes if we can only meet on a Wednesday, I'll be like, sorry guys, I've got football, because it's my time to kind of let out my release, to do something I enjoy. It's important in life to have to kind of treat yourself. I'm not saying necessarily football's a treat because it helps to keep me fit and healthy, but it's important in life to treat yourself and do things that you like doing, rather than running around all the time and doing things for everyone else or doing things that might pay the bills. So for me, football, yeah, and it definitely helps. And I think it's important to do stuff, take some time off yourself, whether it's once a week or once a month, whatever it is.
And yourself, French?
I'll say gym. I'll go to the gym, and boxing. I do boxing at the gym, so that's where I find my solace if I'm having a a day where I just need to get some aggression out or just pump iron or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just be active. That's what I tend to do. Before that, I used to just love all sports anyway. So I could play table tennis for hours and find solace in that.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely sport for me is something I find solace in. But another thing that maybe not so much geared towards sport is when I'm doing like colouring in, like a colouring in book.
To me before.
Yeah, I love it. I could tune in and just do that for hours.
Even now.
Yeah, I forget what it was. We had a conversation about. I don't know what. I said my Spanish teacher asked me, "What do you do for yourself?" And that's what we had. That
that's why we spoke. Yeah, but that's something I could do for myself and find solace in it.
Am I going to see in the kiddie section of Watson's buying colouring books?
No, but you know, there's adult colouring books as well. So
I've never been arty, so I wouldn't know.
But even still, I'd still do those. Yeah, I know you're trying to make a joke, but it's not. It's not funny.
I'm trying to make a joke. It's a realistic question.
Why?
Where'd you buy it? I don't know. Where'd you buy?
You
Please
could just print off stuff on the internet. It's that simple.
Okay. Fair dude.
So you won't see me anywhere buying any
something new. I've learned
nuts.
something new this evening. P, what about yourself? And do you think it's important to find solace in maybe not a sport, but something to take you away from everyday antics of life? And
I definitely believe so. I think at some point you need to switch off. It's funny because obviously just before we actually started and just in catching up, you asked me how my weekend was, and the first thing I did was sigh. So clearly I haven't had any time to find some solace and find some peace. So I'm going to say at this moment in time, there's one thing that I'm thinking of actually just watching stuff on YouTube. When I'm watching YouTube or just watching silly stuff on YouTube, or I'm going to say actually sometimes on Instagram, or I'm a kid again. Certainly on Instagram, I'm a kid again. But when I'm watching stuff on YouTube, I'm at peace. It's funny. At this moment in time, I'm watching.
Are you at peace or being entertained?
Both. So I probably have to watch it before I go to bed.
So you wouldn't be able to survive without social media?
No, I can. Social media, I was going to say it's a necessity.
Yeah.
In this
for you.
At this moment
in regards, isn't it?
No, I think I can because I do believe it is very harmful. I think too much of something is bad for you, and I think at this moment in time, social media is definitely playing a part. But not necessarily in my life, because I think I'm trying to use it for good more than anything. Whereas some people are using it to the point where it's negatively impacting their life in that it molds how they feel, what they should be doing, and all that type of stuff. Whereas the only way it shapes me is in terms of laughing and just curling up in bed and all that type of stuff. Apart from that, nothing else. In regards to YouTube, it's weird. At this moment in time, I'm watching a lot of animal stuff. It's mad. Seriously, I'm watching, what do they call them? Monitor lizards eating rats and stuff. You think I'm joking? That's the mad stuff I'm watching at this moment in time. And I'm finding peace. I'm like...
You're at peace watching that?
Not peace, but not solace, but I'm like...
but that's the...
sorry, I am at solace. So let me say, I am at solace. Yeah. But I'm at solace... So I'm going to break down solace. Like, I'm at peace, but I feel happy. Yeah. Not that the rat's dying or the mouse is dying, but I'm at peace and solace in that. I'm inquisitive. Also, what's the monitor lizard doing now? I'm like, why would... Anyway, enough of that.
Oh, another one dead.
Watching that. I don't want to go too much into it, but yeah, watching YouTube and Instagram as well. But at the same time, a couple of years back, I was really kind of heavily into kickboxing, and I found a lot of solace and a lot of peace. And I might touch on that, obviously, in the aggressive mask as we go on. Mm-hmm. But I found a lot of peace and a lot of solace in doing kickboxing. Unfortunately, it's something that I didn't continue. I can't remember why. But yeah, I found a lot of peace, a lot of solace. And it was actually something I was very interested in doing at the time. I know I've mentioned it to you before in terms of me potentially fighting competitively. I forget what it is, white collar boxing or something along those lines. So certainly at the time, 2-3 years ago, I was really, really keen on doing so. And I'd go on long runs to kind of like build my fitness and build my stamina up for something potentially to go in the ring and compete in some way, shape or form. But obviously that died a death because the aggression probably curtailed.
So I know you've just kicked off on the aggressive mask. Is the guy that you were speaking about all that kind of you spoke about a guy in there?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Was he saying that with the aggressive masks, it's important, like everyone has it, and it's important to find a solace to help curtail that, or what's?
Nah, it's funny because I'm going to say with all the individuals that we'll probably touch on, a lot of them. It's not a case of them finding a solace. This is where they find their solace. So they felt some form of pain in their life. Actually, all of them is actually due to parental. Actually, whether it's father, people passing away, or their fathers have been missing from their lives and stuff like that, and they've gone into a sport. All of them physical, whether it's American football, MMA, and I'm going to say wrestling as well, where they found some type of solace, whether they found some discipline from the sport, whether it's a case of finding peace, or whether I mentioned the discipline, but yeah, those type of things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so on the next individual, I'm going to talk about obviously Ray Lewis. So I know very, very briefly about Ray Lewis in that obviously I believe he's an American football player, and based on my knowledge of him, I think he's always been, I'm going to say, a little bit troubled. I'm not too sure. Actually, I hope I'm right anyway. So I think he's always been a little bit troubled.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think he's always been a little bit troubled. I think he has anyway. But some of the stories...
Do you know anything about him?
No.
No, anyway, so I've heard his name before anyway. Yeah. So I'll touch on him very, very briefly. So there's something scary about channeling years of childhood issues and frustration out towards a stranger for fame and money. Ray Lewis, for the most part of what I understand, from a sporting perspective, from a sporting standpoint, channeled his aggression in a very positive way. From having an absent father, which he harbored hate towards him because of missing his childhood moments, Ray Lewis, as he says it, replaced it with dominance over another individual, and hate turned into fuel. And that hate turned into fuel. I say that to say this: aggression or anger from experiences can fuel and inspire you to great things. It can inspire you to great things. So there's a sentence which I didn't need to mention. French, you mentioned, or you asked me a really interesting question, I think the other day, was in relation to sexual, not drive. So transmutation. Thank you very much. Yeah. Easy for you to say that myself. All right. So my question maybe towards you, towards the both of you, is: have you ever needed to, or do you use your aggression, or do you channel your aggression in a way where you can get things done? So your question to me was, in not seeing anyone or not having sex with anyone for a long period of time, was I able to transfer that energy into something productive and get something achieved and done? Whereas the question obviously I'm asking you both is with maybe anger and aggression, which maybe all of us have probably experienced at some point in time. Have you used it potentially for some type of good?
Maybe when I'm grafting, like if I'm angry about something and I just need to power through the day or whatever it may be, a task that needs to be done, whether it's going through invoices or whatever it may be, I can then almost channel that anger and just get it out and get it done. In that terms, I can kind of use that energy to, in that sense, that's the only good I can think about.
But you're good at, like, French, you're very good at, like, controlling. You can control yourself. I'm more of a man that you can see in my face. So if I'm angry, that very much borderlines emotion. Tears won't come down my face, but you can see I'm upset, like in my face. I can't hide it. Yeah. And like, so with me, I'm similar to you, like at work and stuff. If I'm angry, I'll just mutter stuff under my breath, and then like I might just not storm off, but you can just tell I'm angry. Yeah. And it might sometimes it helps me to get things done. Sometimes it hinders me because it's playing on my mind. Yeah, okay. Even this is it's slightly different, but even yesterday I nearly got into road rage. So I was driving, I think I was going to Tesco's, and I was waiting to pull into the car park, and there was a guy pulling out of the car park, and a car waited for him to come out, but he didn't see the car. So I've bigged him to say, get a move on. But then him and his friend in the car have seen me, and they've like raised their hands, and I thought, okay, whatever. But then as now they've pulled out, they both basically tried to screw man down, and they've like looked at me again. I said, F that. Like straight away, like road rage. I'm a man, like with the road rage thing, I normally laugh about that kind of stuff. Cause I'm a man that normally pull out and pull in front of someone else, so I'm causing it. But I was like, what? So I sped up and I just like swerved the car into theirs.
No way.
I didn't hit them, but I swerved the car into theirs, and I was like, what? Anyway. You
stuck it on them. You stuck it on them.
whatever. They wind down the window. The driver, to be fair, he helped to cool down the situation. It was the passenger. I don't like the way. Sometimes people, whether it's we're talking about the internet and people being keyboard warriors and so on, but even sometimes people, they think they're numbered up and they think they can be intense or aggressive because they're numbered up. But that riles me. And I know maybe I'm gonna get laid out, but at the same time, don't take
it for that.
Exactly.
Don't be disrespectful. I think it's the one thing.
So that's where like getting aggressive can kind of almost.
But is that productive though?
It wasn't productive because all I wanted to do was go to Tesco's and pick up one lemon, and I nearly had an accident because of that, and nearly got my face caved in. So it wasn't productive, and it took me extra time because I had to then go around the one-way system. So it's a good point.
What about you, P?
I forgot what the question was.
You oxed it.
Yeah, I know. I forgot my question. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. In regards to channeling the aggression.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to say maybe in my formative years, obviously when I was working, like in football. Yeah, I think I was able to get my head down and get a lot of things done productively. As of now, I think I've learned to kind of manage my aggression, so I don't really have any forms of aggression. No real form.
What?
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
A lie, you'll tell. Where? You two lie.
Is this man serious?
Aggression where?
Oh my days.
You might get a small outburst, but I mean, nothing.
The amount of times we've had conversations off where we use
passion,
bro.
That's aggression, bro.
That's aggressive.
That's passion. That's
you
passion.
get aggressive.
I disagree. That's passion.
That's a lie,
That's passion. I'm very passionate about some of the
They
things
man
I
that
do.
lie on camera.
Yeah,
That's not me.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about. Yeah, I'm very passionate. I would say angry, aggression. I think it's a
Do
little.
you not keep it moving? Can't. You know,
Okay, cool. No worries. That's fine.
He's
Okay,
lying
cool.
right now.
That's not a lie. Anyway, the channeling of energy, aggression, negative energy, and tension in some cases can encourage discipline. Boxing, where AJ is a great example, is one of many sports where sports can provide discipline or provide a path. Unaddressed anger is a glue that keeps the aggressive mask in place. Examples of that would be, unfortunately, obviously parents with no money, maybe. Examples obviously where this may take place, would be maybe parents with no money, a family member maybe leaves in terms of maybe an absent father, and sometimes also because of this, children or a child may foster anger and resentment. They can't obviously show or express these emotions because he will be deemed weak amongst his peers, wears a mask of aggression, as many children do, unfortunately, which may lead to maybe not necessarily gang violence as such, but children being misled.
Sorry, P. I know you're halfway through, but you raised a good point, and I know that if you don't mind me mentioning, I know you've worked in education previously.
Yep.
Have you seen this? Because you raised the point about maybe a fatherless home.
Yeah.
Have you seen this where you've seen unaddressed anger, where you can really look and see, do you know what? That kid's angry about life, about something, and it's deeper than the classroom, the maths teacher, or whatever it is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And I'm going to say it's a bit of a difficult one. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. I mean, I've only worked in secondary once, where I think you could probably see it a bit more vividly. But yeah, I think in my time of working in a secondary school, I worked there for exactly a year. I definitely saw it, where you can definitely see where kids have got issues outside of school, which are unfortunately.
And how does those issues outside of the school impact them? Are they quick? Are they disobedient? Can they not take what's the word I'm looking for? Instructions, that kind of, was it that kind of thing? Or
Yeah, definitely. I think you find, like, just say a kid's having how would I even word it as such? If a kid's having issues at home in terms of maybe discipline, or it might not be discipline, a kid just generally might have issues at home. They come into a class and they find they're being challenged. All right, where at home they're being challenged all the time, or they're going under a lot of stress. The moment they're challenged, they're going to challenge that behavior, and they're going to obviously, by and large, their voice and their tone and their posture is going to be a little bit larger and and they're going to puff their chest out, or maybe a little bit more with the teacher. And more often than not, obviously, the child is removed, and you'll find that happens. That will happen. It'll be quite frequent, to the point where the kid may potentially be or disciplined, suspended, and then potentially expelled. And I think the problem we have in schools, not to say that they're not addressed in schools, because there are obviously good schools, but the problem is that I don't think there's maybe enough, not even supervision. I don't think there's enough being done, I'm gonna say, or sometimes it's a little bit difficult, because I think in the PC world we live in, I think there's only so much you can say or do, so it can be really, really difficult to find out what the child's issue is. I think in most cases, in the kids that I've encountered this with, I've known them personally, so I've been able to speak to them maybe a bit more on a level, and they've told me what the issue is, and then from there you kind of speak to teachers as to, this kid is encountering this issue, so be very mindful in that this person may kick off, or if they do raise their tone or say something they shouldn't say, you may need to take that into consideration, and then from there things are managed obviously a little bit better.
Yeah, just the afterthought that come to my mind is, it'll be interesting, based on Lewis Howes' theory, or the guy's theory you started with, it'll be interesting to find out how many of these kids go on into a combative industry or something, do you know what I mean, later on in life. That'd be quite interesting, but obviously it's not research I'm willing to take up.
No, it's funny you say that, because like it's slightly moving on anyway, but slightly moving on, like as to, because I think we're moving away, I think we're moving away from kids. In some cases, we're moving away from kids actually expressing their anger, and obviously we want them to speak a lot more, to express how they feel and stuff like that. Whereas I think there's good examples of where kids or where people actually go into industries such as boxing or American football or football itself, where they begin to express themselves and they find a solace in actually terms of playing football, and they actually become successful. And it may be in a case of where they become professional football players, or they found their release as such. I think there is something to be said about, at some point, that may need to be vocalized. Because once you stop playing football, or once you stop playing football, whether it's socially, or once you retire, then you may encounter problems where you may find, obviously, with some professional footballers, once they retire from football, or not necessarily even football, other sports as well, they turn to drink and they turn to other things as well. So that solace is a safe haven, really, and there's only so long you can have a safe haven. At some point, I think you're going to need to express yourself, but I do think there is a place for physically. For physical activity.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree.
There is a place for physical activity. Sorry, there was actually a question as such. I forget where I'm actually going with this, but no, I'll move on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll move on.
No pressure.
Yeah, I'll move on. Another question. This male need for combat is a mask. And it's something that we need to think about and explore further. I will discuss this in one of our previous chapters, that with what happens in one's life, parental, financial, and peer pressure, just to name a few, it creates a tension. So much so, when we leave the house, we're already on the defensive, wearing masks. Patience, the ability to communicate, are developed qualities. I say that to say this: is anger, stroke aggression, a preset? And I say that because things such as maturity and communicating are things and languages that also we develop with time, whereas anger, I think, is something, I don't want to say it's something we inherit from birth, but if a kid doesn't get their bottle, they cry, they scream. I'm not saying it's anger, but I think you understand that. That was my first question, but there are a couple sub questions. Is it the first emotion we learn, and is it the easiest emotion to develop because of its perhaps simplicity in comparison to the ones I've just mentioned? Yeah, that is it.
What was the first part of the
Sorry,
question?
I will say the first part of the question was, is anger, stroke aggression a preset? Is it preset? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think all of them are. Like, if we can't just single out anger and say, is that we're all born with these emotions?
No, that's correct. Further in his book, I think in his chapter as well, it talks about primary and secondary emotions, and I don't know if that's the correct terminology I want to use, but what I'm saying is, like, maturity may be the second or third level. If that, I want to make sense of this so you understand. What I'm saying is, from not to say from birth, anger is a very simple one. As in, as a baby, if I take your bottle, you'll cry. Whereas if I take your bottle at the age of 4/5, maybe you might be able to communicate as to what the problem is and how we can resolve the problem.
But you might still feel anger.
Yeah, but it's channeled now, and you're now we're channeling your anger. You're channeling your anger, but at the same time you're controlling your anger as well. And in some cases, it might not be. I'm trying to think. It might not necessarily be anger.
So I guess it would be preset then in regards of having that emotion. But with, as you said, with maturity, you're able to display it in a more way that's deemed okay in society. Is that what you mean? I'm trying to understand.
So, Mace, do you want to go by you answering the question? I think you're nodding obviously when I asked the question, so you may understand what I'm saying. And you may give French better understand what I'm saying.
From what I gather, it's like, I think if you're better, the better you are at communicating, the less the need to result. And when I'm saying anger, I'm saying more violent, whether it's physical violence or verbal abuse or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So the better you are at communicating, the less you might need to resort to that. So that's what I gather from it. Although saying that yesterday, I nearly got in a punch up outside Tesco's. So
yeah. Is that what you're referring to?
That's what I gather from it. Like, the older and more mature I got, the people I come into contact with, the life experiences, I'm now able to communicate far better and realise what's important, what's not. Am I really gonna have a fight with someone over them jumping me the queue in a supermarket, or am I just gonna say, "Excuse me, sir, I think you might have stepped in front of me. Do you mind if I step back in front of you and take my rightful place?
But if they respond in a way, then that aggressive mouth's going to come back.
It might do, and it might.
I know it will.
product of a cancer estate. What do you expect?
Is that what? I don't know.
No, not necessarily. No. So like, as a baby, all right. I'm gonna say maybe the. Don't quote me and say this is correct, but the emotions I'm thinking of is happy and sad. Okay, but as you are now, or as I am now, 33 years of age, there's a range of emotions I may feel.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is anger or aggression a preset? Is that something that...
You say, do we learn anger?
Yeah, so I'm asking the question. I'm asking the question as to, I'm not even sure myself. So what I'm saying is anger or aggression a preset? Is it the first emotion we learn? Is it the easiest emotion to develop because of its simplicity? Is anger so I was tapping you earlier, not to say that you were angry, but it sparked something for you to respond. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whereas maturity is something that developed through years of learning and experience. So I think maturity is something you develop with experience. Whereas anger, I don't think you don't need no experience. The only experience you need is you did something, I didn't like it, and you're gonna respond.
I don't like your finger.
Yeah, so I don't like people pointing fingers too. So I take that back. So do you understand where I'm coming from now?
Are you clearer?
I'm leaving you two to sort this one out.
So what I'm saying is anger a very simple emotion?
Yeah, it is a simple, but it's simply complex to.
You're either angry or not, but there's varying degrees of anger.
Yeah, I know that, but
you can be angry about one thing, and it could be completely. You're not going to show any emotion, or not even show any. You're not going to display the anger, but another part of anger is you want to display that anger. So.
All right, cool. We'll move on in just a moment. All right, but like, no, you raised a very good point to which I want to touch on. So, as a baby, I don't think a baby is going to show any maturity. Whereas you're talking, so what you said is there's varying degrees of anger. I think as a baby, if I took the bottle, all right, they're not going to say, "Oh, I'm going to be mature about that. Let my dad have that for a while." That's not going to happen. I want my bottle. Yeah. That's what I want.
Or dummy.
Yeah, so I'm just throwing out words there.
Yeah.
So does everyone understand anything I'm saying?
No. I think, what was the second part? You had a sub-question.
Okay, cool. So there were sub-questions really. So I was saying, is it the first emotion we learn?
I don't think it's anger is the first emotion in terms of...
it could be being happy, but I'm saying, is it one of the first emotions we learn?
It's hard.
How do you determine what is anger?
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works as well. How do you learn anger? Because when you with a baby, for instance,
you don't. You have it's a prerequisite.
Because you're never angry, especially around a baby. You're never going to be angry with them. And I get what you're saying in that. Take your dummy away, and there's a reaction, maybe upset and cry, emotional. But you're never most. Sane people are never angry around a baby, a child, or someone. I'm not
talking about the man. I'm talking about the baby. A baby being upset that I've taken a dummy.
Yeah. So is that upset being anger?
No, but I don't want to pile them all in together. What I'm saying, okay, cool. So the baby's going to be upset that I've taken a dummy.
Yeah.
All right. So I've broken it down quite funny. So the baby's upset that I've taken a dummy. The baby is not going to think, nah, Dad, you have this one. All right, you can hold it for. You can use the dummy. All right, and then I'll get it back later. That's not going to happen. Right? The baby's not going to show any maturity in regards to, I don't need this now, I'll get it later. What I'm saying is, anger is a very very simple emotion in comparison to the rest.
We have to give me examples of the rest.
Jesus Christ.
So happy, sad,
maturity.
Scared.
Let's go with maturity. Because ultimately, we're talking about
not scared. That's not right. Go on.
Yeah, so I know where you're coming from. So, like, scared may be
scared an emotion. Why are we going so deep into the emotional part? Like,
no, we're having a deep conversation in regards to this question, whether I'm right or wrong, kind of thing. But that doesn't matter anyway. Okay, we can.
No, go on. Like, if you really want to thrash it out, let's do it. But
no, we can. We can.
No one's any clearer right now.
I don't see how we're not, but that's fine.
Okay, can you answer your own question?
I think it's probably one of the first emotions you do learn. That's my personal opinion now, because I think it takes maturity to then develop other emotions.
So, okay, what emotions would you develop later?
Let me think. It could be. I can't think of one actually now, but you put me in the spot.
Does anyone mind if I draw a line and we just continue?
I'm with you, miss.
All right, cool.